next and walk the bird to the top of the vineyard and launch it into the wind. That was what V did that day. Launched Rags into that wind. In seconds, she was about 300 feet above the top of the hill, wheeling and soaring in the wind. She was airborne for 20 minutes that day, ladies and gentlemen, and I stood here and I couldn't but help feel a little twinge of sadness. Wasn't it sad? Her first soaring flight in the open sky, and it was taking place here at the edge of Kent instead of in Africa, which was where she really belonged. But Rags has gone from strength to strength, ladies and gentlemen. We called her Rags because it reflects her condition when she first came into the country, and Rags is a Bateleur. This is an African snake eagle. Rags came into this country, however, with more than just a few damaged feathers. She had a serious injury to her right foot. The inside toe was so badly dislocated halfway down its length, it turned right angle and was pushed underneath her foot. We watched her wince with pain sometimes when she put her foot down a little crooked. Our vet operated on her 4 days after she arrived here. 3 days later, the operation failed and her toe dislocated again. A week later, we went back for another try. 3 days afterwards, it failed again. We went back for another attempt, only this time we were met by the vet. He said, if this doesn't work, I'm amputating the toe. You don't get a choice in the matter. But that would have been disastrous for Rags. The inside toe and the hind toe are the two primary toes used by the bird for gripping and killing their prey. Without an inside toe, she would have been at a considerable disadvantage. But it was third time lucky for Rags. The third operation was a complete success, and today you'd never know there'd been anything wrong with her toe in the first place. But she came to this country with one final problem, ladies and gentlemen. It's one that won't go away. It has got slightly better, but it's still a terrible problem. Because of the abuse she suffered in Africa, Rags today is terrified by people. The bigger the crowd, the more frightened she becomes. Especially if the crowd is noisy. On those days, Rags simply flies off. Ladies and gentlemen, she's flown off more times than I can remember. She just disappears off across the countryside. We kind of know when it's coming and just let people know she's about to leave, and sure enough, she usually does. Sometimes, though, she decides to leave by going straight up. She goes up to about 500 feet and just circles around. On those occasions, it's always good fun to grab your binoculars and look at Rags, because she doesn't fly like a normal bird like this, looking where she's going. Rags flies like that, watching the crowd down below her. When the crowd disperses, she'll shut her wings and drop down out of the sky. The Bateleur is an amazing bird, ladies and gentlemen. Firstly, it's the only eagle in the world that doesn't have eagle in its title. This isn't a Bateleur eagle, this is simply the Bateleur. Secondly, it has the shortest tail of any eagle in the world. It's just 4 inches long. It's a tiny little thing. And it should present a problem for the bird, because birds usually use their tail to steer themselves around the sky. With no tail, how does the Bateleur manage? Well, I don't know if you noticed, ladies and gentlemen, but hang gliders don't have a tail. They look very elegant when they're in the air. That's because hang glider pilots have stolen the technique that was developed in the wild by the Bateleur. These birds steer by tipping and tilting their whole airframe when they're flying. They don't use their tail, they use the whole length of their wing, tipping and tilting side to side. Ladies and gentlemen, this bird has a very beautiful face. There's a good shot of her in her first year in in immature plumage on the side of the van. That big round blob there in the middle, that's Rags's face, with all her head feathers stood on end. The feathers tend to look like petals around her face. It is the beautiful face. That, coupled with that little tiny tail, is her name, her Latin name, Pterothopus ecudatus, roughly translated means beautiful face without a tail. Ladies and gentlemen, since 1977, the Raptor Centre has been trying to help birds of prey in the wild in as many ways as possible. Our rescue workers responded to hundreds of calls. The breeding programme has produced well in excess of 1,000 birds of prey. Thing is, we wouldn't have done any of that without you. Ladies and gentlemen, the Raptor Centre remains independent. We are neither owned nor financed by Groombridge Place Gardens. Since 1977, a whole army of people just like you and 2 small collection boxes, one at either end of this fence, have provided us with all of our funding. All of the rescue work, the breeding programme, the release schemes, you pay the veterinary and the feed bills. Without people like you, the Raptor Centre wouldn't exist. But you know the nicest thing you ever did? was 7 years ago. Thousands of people just like you helped us raise over £2,000 to buy rags for Bateleur from the zoological company that brought her into the country. Had it not been for people like you, Rags today would be living in a zoo somewhere, locked up in a wire cage, and her freedom denied her. She would have finished her life having never ever flown free. Ladies and gentlemen, I prefer to see her the way she is today, flying where she wants to fly, doing what she wants to do, and regularly saying to the whole audience because she just lost her nerve again. But then that's freedom of choice, and you gave that to Rags just as much as we did. Ladies and gentlemen, I hope you've enjoyed meeting the birds at this demonstration. If you have, just remember, it was a flying demonstration, not a handler demonstration. You never ever thank a handler unless the handler jumps into the air and flies around above your heads, in which case perfectly acceptable. But until that day occurs, just remember, you thank the birds for flying in front of you. Don't ever thank a handler for being a convenient perch for the bird to land on. I hope you've enjoyed the birds. Ladies and gentlemen, for us, it has been a pleasure having your company. Thank you very much indeed for coming along.